I have had a buddy since 1987. We were neighbors when I lived on Taraval Street in San Francisco, California. First time I met him was in the middle of summer. He had shorts on and he just talked and talked and talked. And I think the next time I saw him, there was this great big tall skinny fella there working on his car, and he was just talking about how the Chinese people had moved into the neighborhood, and he was yelling and screaming and how much he hated them. And I didn't say nothing to him. I just looked at him like, what the hell is he talking about? And about a couple of weeks later, I got invited to a party, and I met with him, and I brought over my Muddy Waters record at the time, and he liked it, and we've pretty much been buddies ever since. He's the first person to tell me about the Kennedy assassinations, and at that time I didn't believe in them, and so forth and so on. Now, I talked to him a couple of days ago about the election, and the first thing out of his mouth was Trump and racism, and we had a heated discussion. And at one point, he pointed to some kind of thing that somebody did somewhere and killed somebody. And I asked him about the people protesting. He said, what people protest? And I don't really want to get into that because I don't know what's behind the protest or who's protesting or what the implications of it is. I don't want to get involved in that. I'm just talking about him. Why he, an intelligent man, wants to make racism the number one reason for this problem. And I will submit that he has been influenced by the media that he watches. Okay? That's what I would submit. He said he likes Bloomberg. And I don't know how much he's been influenced, and I don't know what his life is like. Okay? But in any case, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. Okay? But what I want to say is, the people who are saying this is racist don't want us to get to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is, all of us look around and see all this new stuff coming about, and all these new things and all these wonderful things in our life, and yet we're working harder for less. And we don't get it. And I was excited about this Obamacare, and I went to the doctor, had my eyes looked at, and I paid, and then the next thing you know, I got a bill for $250. And then I got my Obamacare, and then I went to get a doctor, and nobody wanted to see me. And then I went to the emergency care because my tooth was about to fall out, and I didn't want to go to the dentist because they were concerned about my high blood pressure. So they gave me some medicine, and I paid $20 for the pharmaceuticals, and then I got a bill for $300. And they started going after my bank account, which I closed. Okay? Now, what part of any of that has to do with racism? What that has to do with is the failure of the liberal state. The failure of liberalism. And I don't mean big L liberalism, or as the communists like to say, neoliberalism. Because there are no bigger critics of liberalism than communism. None. They are bigger critics than the right-wing people. Okay? And yet right-wing people will conflate communism with liberalism because they're so fucking stupid that they don't know the difference. There is a difference. Okay? And that is the root of the problem. Professor Richard Wolff explains it better than anybody. Chris Hedges, to a certain extent, explains it. Those types of people. But if you want to understand the problem, go to Dr. Richard Wolff, Democracy at Work, or Michael Parenti. Wolff is W-O-L-F-E-E, and Parenti is just like parent with an I. They are both very brilliant, and they're both explaining it. Michael Hudson explains it, even though at times you get lost. Capitalism is failing. It is failing. And now we're going to get, I was thinking for a while, I got FDR, till I found out that Herbert Hoover was a big capitalist, and he was supposed to fail. So maybe Herbert Hoover will succeed in America, because the situation is nowhere near as bad in America as it was in the 30s. People aren't hurting that much. But that's what I'm trying to say. I have voted for Bush. I voted for Bush both times. I voted for Obama the first time. After I saw that mess in Libya, I was not voting for him. I'm not voting for a warmonger. And I voted for Trump because I saw him as the peace candidate, and I saw him as the candidate that would do more for me economically. That's what I saw. Now, if I'm wrong, my liberal friends can point it to me, but I don't really feel too bad, because Hillary was inciting war with Russia, okay? So I don't know what that is, to use a worn phrase now, trumped everything, okay? So we had a person who told us Obamacare was great, and she wanted to start a war with Russia, and she was just surrounded by cronyism. I mean, I think that's enough, without y'all calling us racist, okay? And if you continue to do that, we're going to get mad, okay, because we don't like it. Or that's fine. If he raises policy, argue with him. Because our culture has become vapid and empty and lack of ideas. We need to argue the ideas. We need to argue about things. Because what I have seen from the Fox News, what they're saying, they're acting like they had a victory. They didn't have a victory. Trump won. There's still 51 Republican senators and 49 Democrats. So y'all need to get up there and fix it. If you don't, you're going to have a mess on your hands. Okay? Which you already do. So, stop these unnecessary wars. Tell the generals to take a chill pill, that they've got enough. And get this debt rearranged and get people back to work and fix this. Okay? And get these warmongers out of there. That's the biggest problem we have, is war. End the war, bring home the peace. Out.